Okay, so in this one, I'm going to import a file from SketchUp and then create the toolpaths for it. So I hit on a new. It was set up already with a width of 5.5, a height of 11, and a thickness of 0.75. That's what I use for most of my templates, and then those, by the way, are going to be run on PVC. So that has to do, the PVC has a lot to do with the speed and the number of passes and everything else. So it basically now has that. I'm going to go up to import vectors, and I should have a file out there somewhere named, I have to go to the right space for it. Give me a second on that. So there it is. I saved it with a Vcarve name at the end because that way I know it's a SketchUp 2017. So I'm going to double click on that. Okay, so then this always pops up. If you're interested, you can pause and just take a look at what settings I have here, because I don't even know how I got there. It was just time, trial and error to get to that point. So I'm going to say okay. It always comes in a little bit off center. I don't know why, but I'm comfortable with that. I just go to Align Selected Objects right there. I go to the center one. It centers it for me. I close that out. So now I have everything that I need for doing the toolpaths. So on this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Control. I'm going to Shift Select. It's always the opposite of SketchUp, but Shift Select, Shift Select, Shift Select. Oops. Shift Select, 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 and then double checking to make sure that all of them are selected, which they are. And I didn't do it by selecting an area because I didn't want to gather these in it. So this one, I'm going to go to the pocket toolpath. I want those to go full through, and so they're going to go full through at 0.75. If it, and then do I need 6 passes? No, I do not in PVC. And I just wouldn't want to change this and run it on a hardwood or something, but I'm going to change it to 3 passes, and then I'm going to title it all 1/4 inch slots. These are for the Plywood Guides that we can use to help us align. Now when I do that, it shows that. I don't do the test right away or anything, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to zoom, and I just want to start zooming in on a few things like the halfway point, because I can always use that to slide it around. So now what I want to do is I want to do all my 1/4 inch holes, my full throughs, and if I look at the SketchUp file, I see that I have the reddish colored ones, right? And that means that they're full through. And then I've got these blue surrounds. So when I go over to Vcarve, then I know that inside there, and I'm again shift click, that's my peephole right there. Then here are the 5 holes that are going to be used for the hinge bits to make the dimples. So I've got that, and then now I can keep that going down. This is a peephole as well, and that's a peephole. And because those are all 1/4 inch holes, the router is a 1/4 inch, has a 1/4 inch up spiral, and so it can just go straight down like a drill bit. It doesn't need to go down and around. So because of that, I can change the number of passes. So I am going to again the pocket toolpath. It's going to go 0.75 deep. It defaults to 6 passes, and that I can just change to 1. Again, if I was hardwood, then I would want to probably go do 2 or 3, but you don't have to go to 6 for sure. And then I'm going to go down here and say all 1/4 inch full through, something like that. Calculate. It wants to jump over there and show you that. I'm going back to 2D view. Now I have to just remember what I did and what I didn't do. Okay, so I'm going to click somewhere right in here. That unclicks or unselects all those. Now I want to do these outer rims right here, that one. And these are for the 3/8 inch dowels that are basically going to be used to help with alignment on different cases. On the other one I had a whole bunch of them, but this one I only have the 2. So I'm going to go up here, and this time I'm going to use this one, the profile toolpath, and I'm going to go down a 1/2 inch, 0.5, which is enough that I can put the dowel in there. The reason I have the 1/4 inch is sometimes the dowels get stuck in there. They're kind of hard to get out. So if I go around to the other side, there's a 1/4 inch hole, and I can just push them right out with a like a 1/4 inch dowel or something. And again, I'm only going down a 1/2 inch, and the hole is mostly already there. So I certainly don't need 5 passes. And in fact, 1 pass will be plenty, because it's just going to go in there and it's going to make one swing around. It's going to make it a 1/2 inch deep. You know, maybe I'll go 2 passes on that. So let's just switch that to 2, and because that's quite a bit, a 1/2 inch. So now I've got 2 passes, good to go on that. You have to scroll down a little further on that, and then I'm just going to type in, call it outer rim for 3/8 peg. Good enough. Calculate. All right. Now that I've got, I think I have everything. If I just kind of look, I got all of the slots, yes. I have all the full through holes, yes. I have the rim, yes. That's good. Okay, now I go to Tool Paths, and I'm going to unclick that and then re-click it. Now I should have everything there. I'm going to go to my 3D view, and there's what it's telling me it's going to do. And it's certainly worth the time to do preview visible toolpaths. I don't preview all because sometimes I'll have other toolpaths down there that I'm not using on one run, and then I'll use it on another. They're there, but I don't use them. So I want the visible toolpaths, which is the ones that I've selected right here. So click on those, and that was pretty fast, right? So let's just go ahead and say reset the preview. I'll take the speed, drop it down a little bit, and then I have to reselect all those, and now I'm going to say preview visible toolpaths, and that's more like it in terms of, you know, what the router is going to do. This is almost like too slow, so I'll just speed it up a little bit, and there we go. It's making those slots. I'm not doing that. The system is, right? The software. So now it does look like I've got everything, but guess what? I don't have right here, right? And so you're almost thinking I did that accidentally, but I didn't. And so what I did is I had never done the mortise part. Now, so that what I want to do is there's a 2-stage on that one as well. So the inner part is going to be for mortising with the router bit, and that one needs to be full through. So what I want to do on that, I could do this method where you do this thing and then you do the tabs, but it does not work out very well on this. And because there's going to be a router guide going along there, I don't want it hitting the remainder, like these little bumps, the tabs that it leaves. So I don't do that. I instead, let me see, how do I get over to the other one? All right, so I'm going to use this one. It's going to take a little more work because it has to go through a lot of passes, but I do want it to go the full 0.75. 6 passes, again, this is PVC, so no, I don't have to do that, and that would take a long, long time. So I'm going to go with, I'll go with 4 passes, which on a 0.75, in fact, it even tells you here is 1/875. I can go to 3 passes, so 1/4 inch per pass in PVC, that's fine. And I've got that, and I'm going to call that router. Wouldn't you know it's something showing up there? What? Router? Router, inner, full through, calculate. And something popped up something that popped up on my screen. I don't know if I hit something or whatever, but so it wasn't recognizing that. Okay, so now I've got it again. I've got my dotted line right there. I've got 0.75. I have my 3 passes, and I called it router inner full through, calculate. And again, now it's showing all those things it's going to do there. But I also need to do the outside, and this has to do with something that I've discovered that really, really works well when routering, and that is to create a pocket for the dust. So because this is kind of throwing me off a little bit, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to unclick that. There, that makes a little more sense. Now I see just the outer part, and on this one I'm going to do that I can do this on, because it's really just I don't want to have the router do all this inside here because that's already gone. There is no material there. Now you always want to make sure you keep the order here though, because you don't want to do the outside first and then do the inside, because there's going to be putting too much pressure possibly on that bit. Again, I want to do the same thing. I want a 1/2 inch trench, basically an area that dust can go to deep, and you'll see this when everything comes out. Number of passes, it's going down a 1/2 inch, but it's only taken off a little bit of meat and it's PVC, so I'm good with, again, 2 passes at a 1/4 inch each. And then I have to slide down to here, call it something. I'm going to call it router dust rim at 0.5. Just reminds me of how deep that's going to go. Okay, so you can see that I'm going back to that 3D view, and I'm really glad I did the 3D view, because otherwise it would have been frustrating to go out to the shop, run it, and then it wouldn't have made this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a reset of, I'm going to unclick everything. I'm going to reset the toolpath so I have a nice clean slate. I'm going to click on that, which selects everything here. Now I'm going to say preview the visible toolpaths. I'm going to speed it up a little bit since we had already seen a lot of that. Now I'll try to slow it down. But what it's going to do now is it's going to do that inside, and that's going to make, I think it was 4 passes. It's doing the inside. Now it's going to do the outside. There we go. And this is what I'm looking for on my template. Now I need to click on that so I have them all. Go to close. I do go to the save toolpath, and then click on this save toolpath, and I have to decide where to save it. I have a folder set up for MikroTenons. I think I saved it. Let me just double check. Save, and go to that. Go to MikroTenons. Do I have a tap in there? And I really want to call this DIY 3. You can't use slashes because it's a file name. So 3QTR by 3-inch MikroTenon jig, and that's good enough. And then I also want to save the Vcarve file, so same thing, save as, and then I'll go down to MikroTenons, do the same thing, call it the same thing. So I gave it the same file name, but it'll change to the CRV. So now those 2 files are out there and they're ready, and they will be on the SketchUp, available for download. Not the SketchUp. They'll be on the Instructable for download, so that if you do have Vcarve, you can pull that in. So everything is all set to go on this, and now what all I'm going to really end up doing is going down to my folder. I'll do a save of that, or a copy, and then I place it onto a thumb drive, and that way I take the thumb drive out to the shop, and that's what I end up using for the CNC. So there we go.